another episode of the We Rock podcast. I know it's almost like we kind of quit and gave up, but we didn't quit.
No.
It's life. Life.
Mama didn't raise no quitter.
Nah. It may crash and burn, but we'll still be here.
That's right. So, again, it's our soapbox. Nobody can take it.
No, I mean, it's been pretty good. Everything's still rocking and rolling. I'm still getting information. You have people listening and all that, hearing all that from folks. And
we still have people that reach out and say, "Hey, y'all should talk about this," and then we never talk about it. But,
it's like, I don't know about you, but
we try.
I'm a little busy, so
it's been a tad hectic.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
What's funny is you and I talked about this. Like we're both hectic, but different directions and different reasons why. Not because we don't have sales or sales are slumping. It's
right,
man. Like drinking from the fire hose. So, So speaking of, let's see. There we go. So
I don't. There you go.
No, it's been. We've got statues right now that we're working on, and I've got. I don't know how I ended up falling into this stuff, but I've got 4 statues. One that was supposed to be installed today, but we ran into problems. One that's got to be installed after Labor Day. Another one that's got to be, and then the final 2 have to be installed before the end of October. They're all pretty well cut and dry, but it's the timelines that become a problem. And I wish people would understand that you kind of probably want to make sure that everything is in place before you start scheduling a dedication for something.
Oh no, I've got one of those right now. They're on the interstate that goes through here. They stood up a large cross out there.
Yep.
And it's going to have all these stations around it on this path that you walk, and it's going to show the story of the crucifixion of Jesus. And we're responsible for supplying the granite pieces that are going to have pictures and information etched on them. And like, it was about 3 weeks ago, they were like, yeah, we're thinking mid-August. I'm like, cool. And luckily it's nothing huge for us. It's just tile that we're having to do because it's going to be placed into stone. And for those of you that do etch your own tile, or even if you are looking for tile that you want to add to a project or whatnot, homedepot.com is a great place to go get the tile you need.
God,
because I've got to edge something like 25 18 by 12 tiles, and 18 by 12 is not a standard size, but you can buy 18 by 18 as long as you got a tile saw. You're good.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure you didn't charge enough for that.
No,
even if you're close enough, it's not that you didn't charge enough for the labor and stuff. You probably didn't charge enough for the turnaround time.
Correct. And heck, we just had another order come in today, and this one it's a strange one. For one, I don't know where this cemetery gets the money, but they apparently have it. But it's a small little nothing cemetery in our area, and in 2020, they came in and they bought 6 2x1 flat markers, and then each of them have a breakout granite piece underneath them for little foundation.
Yep.
And they bought 6 of them to mark unmarked graves out in the cemetery. Hey, cool. That way it's just not a blank spot on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They came back this week and they said, we've got some more names of some unmarks. We have 31. And so that little bitty cemetery association just bought 31 2x1 markers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm so bowed up. I'm like going through my list this morning of stuff that we've got to get done. And of course, there's the statue issue that we're dealing with, but then we have a cemetery that has a cremation section that we built for them. Mm-hmm. And they're like, when are you going to get the crushed rock out here? I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Like, look, and I don't mean to be rude about this particular one. And I know I I got to get it done pretty quick or whatever. And it's really didn't take that much work, but it is 45 minutes from here. And I've got to go out there with the section is every bit of 60 foot long and 12 foot wide. And we're filling the whole thing full of crushed rock. So it's like, I've got to take a lot of crushed rock up there to fill it.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, when are you going to do it? Like, dude, I did this as a very low cost thing for you guys because y'all are going to send all of the flat markers to us. How do I know they're sending all the flat markers to us? Because I designed the thing in a manner in which they're not going to be able to, and nobody else is going to have the artwork to be able to produce it. So
that's why it's good to have your own niche.
Yeah. So
be different.
I planned that.
Be like Tony. Be different.
Be like Tony. Trust me. It's psychotic. There's like this is like sniffing glue or something. I don't really know. That's one I got to get to, but it's such a low priority, and I need to get to it. But to me, the families that have lost somebody are a little bit more important than that. Or like the statue one that's now. So this one's in particular is crazy because this one was on campus before. It was put in 30 years ago. Right. Was removed about 10 years ago, and it's been in storage. Well, I thought this was going to be cut and dry. We're going to be in and out quick, boom, be done. Right? I knew it was going to be that way. I've seen the statue. I knew it was there. I've never picked the statue up, but I've seen it. Well, I picked the statue up, get it to the shop, get ready to start making my pattern for my drill pattern. Well, when they removed the statue from campus, they just hired some Joe Blow contractor. They cut all the pins off.
With the pin still inside, correct?
Welded to a stainless steel plate. So there's 3 stainless steel plates underneath the foot of this thing. Each one of them had 4 bolts in them, and every one of them is cut off shorter than the bronze sticks out. And they were all 1/2 inch. And you go, geez, what am I supposed to do? So now I've got to take it over to a welding shop because I don't have a welder. But also, I don't feel, even if I had a welder, I'm not comfortable enough with putting down a bead to hold a nut on and those kind of. It's a bird. The wings are outstretched. It's a giant freaking sail. You know,
well,
if it was
you said it's stainless too, isn't it? Yeah, welding stainless is a whole different animal from just welding normal mild steel. Right.
So you've got it's going to be in a heavy walked path, so people are going to be touching it. It better be welded well. So I got to take it over to a shop to get that done and whatnot. So that delays everything. They're worried about, well, when you put it in, there's going to be a crowd. I go, no, we're going to sneak out in the middle of the night. I promise. It's going to be late. We're going to get it done, but I don't want attention from anyone when we do it. So,
no, definitely so.
We're just, putting out fires. That's it. That's what we do. That's what it's exciting things, I guess.
Oh yeah.
That's what they tell me.
Shoot, I'm thinking about repainting my setting truck red and putting some strobe lights on it or something. Make it look like a fire truck at least with the amount of fires we have to put out.
I'll start calling you George Strait.
I know, they call me the fireman. It's my name.
Man.
Yeah. Now, are any of these customer yours, are they educated in the matter?
So they think.
Well, so do most. So do most.
Yeah. I've got Google. And I can look up all kinds of things and know information. Like I'm pretty sure I could look up what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th on Google. I don't think so. Never mind. I don't think I can do that. But that's the assumption we get, right? Is that people think that they can find all that information online and know immediately the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
And that's one of the problems with the internet, because The internet still is a extremely useful tool, not just for us, but of course anybody. I mean, especially like Find a Grave. Find a Grave is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Find a Grave helps us immensely, especially whenever it comes to looking at some of these smaller cemeteries that we're not entirely familiar with. And of course, you know, we also have access to AI programs like ChatGPT and things like that. That, you know, I wouldn't say use it as something as a crutch, but you know, definitely use it as a tool in your toolbox. But it also gives families access to a lot of information that is not necessarily correct in our industry and can cause a good bit of headache.
Well, I mean, you know, that's just it. Is that you can have the internet, and it's great for a lot of different things. You know, I find scripture verses on there a lot. I can find different design concepts and ideas and whatnot.
But one little note to that: whenever you're looking up scripture verses on the internet, if you're supplying it to a family, just go ahead and default to King James version.
Oh,
because
I ask, what version do you want it in?
Because I have put like an NIV verse on a rendering before a family before, and they let me know very quickly and quite bluntly that is incorrect. It is King James or nothing. If King James was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for us.
I had a guy that eons ago. I used to work at a Christian bookstore a long time ago, and I not much in the way I handle things has changed ever. And so this guy comes in and he goes, "Oh, King James version is the only version of the Bible." And I told him, I said, "Well, that's exciting." I said, "I'm pretty sure that it was William Shakespeare was one of the writers of the King James Bible. Does that change your opinion on it?" He also was the same guy who tried to tell me that the only songs that we should sing are God's songs, which are the hymns. And look, I love the hymns, but I was like, well, considering that they're all written, a lot of them were written by Martin Luther to German drinking songs. Are you still okay with it?
My dad is one of those traditionalists that if he goes to, you know, or not if, when he goes to church, because he goes every Sunday, and if it's not the old traditional, you know, old rugged cross and, you know, that playlist, he don't want it.
Right. So,
hey, speaking of that, talking about different hymns, do you know what Jesus's other name is?
Jesus.
No, well, I mean that's one way to pronounce it. No, his other name is Andy.
Andy.
Well, I mean, all because right. there's the hymn that says, "And he walks with me, and he talks," you know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna find all this stuff on the internet. Now here, you know, the problem is that when you read something on the internet and you take it as gospel, you just assume that it's accurate, and it goes right up there with that Abraham Lincoln quote, says where he said the problem with quotes found on the internet is that they're often not true.
That's the one I immediately go to all the time. I mean, he called him Honest Abe for a reason.
Oh, exactly. And and a lot of this stems from understanding certain things, right? I don't know. If I took a wild guess how many different monument shops there were in the country, I'd be wrong. But I'm going to take a stab and say north of 5,000 different shops.
Seems reasonable.
Okay. Which means there's 5,000 different ways of doing it. Mm-hmm. Right? Not really. I mean, it's still the same stone. The process is mostly the same. The way you handle it. But we've gone to ad nauseum about online internet sales, and they're only educating people enough to buy from them, right? And so when
it also potentially makes you look bad whenever they get a quote from you. Yeah, they get a quote from you and they're like, this place is much lower. Well, give me a chance to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons. And a lot of times those online companies, they market like used car dealers, the ones that you drive by and you see on the windshield, decent looking pickup or car sitting there. It says $3,500, and you're like, hey, that's a good deal. No, no, that's not what it cost.
I did that when I bought this last setting truck. I was looking around. I looked all over the country, and there was one here locally. It was a 1-ton dually crew cab, and I was ready to buy it, and it was used. Of course, this is in 21 when you couldn't find a vehicle to save your life. And I reached out to the dealership and I said, hey, says 68,000 or whatever it said on the window. And I said, what's your best dollar on it? Well, you see, when we bought that truck, we had to put it into the shop and put another $12,000 into it. So it's actually going to be $80,000.
Isn't it funny how it doesn't work?
68,000. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how it does not work the other way?
Yeah.
That you can put $12,000 into a vehicle, but the value of the vehicle does not increase by $12,000.
Right. Yeah. I basically told them they could sit on that truck, but I get it too. I'm on the opposite end of it, but I don't go adding stuff to things because I'll willy nilly. Yeah, I don't know if you structure your prices any different than I do mine. I know there's a lot of people that structure their prices based on per letter. I don't do that because I don't have the time to sit here and I'm not like teach their own. I'm not. This is not the one where I'm going to say you're wrong for doing that. If you want to do that, it's fine. It doesn't bother me, but
everybody has the reasoning. Everybody has the reasoning for how they set up their pricing, and there's all the above are correct.
Sure, you want to charge extra for texture work and doing extra steps in sandblasting. I'm on board with that. That's what we do. Okay, shape carved roses, setbacks, all kinds of things, texture work. I'm down. There's more time involved in that. Charge more for it.
Yes.
But I don't typically sit here and charge per letter. I don't want to sit here and count a bunch of letters. And I'll get a call from Cameron saying, well, that Memorial Designer will actually count the number of letters and words that you have. And I know it does that. You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to use that function.
But he's got it built in for those that do.
He's got it built in. So
yeah,
but that's just not what I'm after. And but the problem is I build my price so that it includes all those things. You know what it includes? It includes the installation.
Yep, same here.
And most of the regular engraving and all that other stuff, because nobody's coming to my shop to buy a blank rock.
Correct.
They're also not coming, and I say this not fully encompassing this next part, but mostly encompassing. They're not typically coming to my office to buy a blank rock that they're going to go install.
Correct.
I do have from time to time some that want to go install it, and most of those are 2x1 markers. I will every once in a while have somebody say, I got a tractor. You want to take care of that? By all means, you go do it.
We've done that as well. Yeah, we've palleted one up before, brought it out to a guy's barn and dropped it off there for him. And he said, well, thanks. We got it from here. And I think we left him a small Ziploc bag of some setting compound and some spacers.
That setting compound was dried up and bad by the time they installed that monument. You know it.
We put water in the bag.
That thing didn't get installed for 3 weeks.
Hey, we did our part.
Oh, sure, I agree. There's no way. There's no way that thing sat there for a year.
We did our part.
It sat there until he backed his tractor into it, and Grandma said, why is it still there?
Right. I said I'll get to it, dang it. But talking about what is and what is not included on the rock, and I talked with you on the phone about this one earlier in the week, that we had one that it was an individual. She never came in here to our shop, did it all through email, all through phone call. We got the headstone set. She emails me back that she is upset that the name is not engraved on the back of the headstone. And I was thinking, okay, no big deal. We can add it on here. This is how much we charge. And she said, no. You're taking care of this. I said, well, you've never paid to have anything engraved on the back. And she said, well, it was never offered to me. She said, I thought I was coming to a professional to buy a headstone, and therefore you should tell me.
That is not a way I would use to describe you for the
No. I don't even describe myself as that. But she's just demanding that this be done over and over and over. And since we was talking about some ChatGPT, I decided, let's see what I started to type up an email and then decided, what's ChatGPT going to do for me? And the prompt I typed in was how to explain to an upset customer that she did not pay for engraving on the back of the headstone. She assumed that it was included in the price, but it is not. In our line of work, adding the name to the back is something customers request. She never requested this service to be done. So the response it fires out to me is, dear customer's name. I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to follow up on your recent inquiry about the engraving on the back of the headstone. First, let me express our sincere apologies for any confusion or frustration this situation may have caused. We deeply value your trust in our services, and I want to clarify the situation to ensure we're on the same page. In our process, engraving on the back of a headstone is an additional service that customers typically request separately. As it was not requested during our discussions or noted in your order, it was not included in the final product. We understand how important this detail is, and we'd be happy to assist you in adding the engraving now. I can provide a quote for the service and discuss any specifics you would like included. Our goal is to ensure that the headstone fully meets your expectations. Please feel free to reach out if you have any further questions or if there's anything else we can do for you. We appreciate your understanding, and we're here to help you in any way we can. Thank you for your continued trust in our services. What do you think of that?
That sounds very pretty and very professional, and not like you hayseed cowboy. But
I know
it sounds professional in the way you would send it and whatnot. So I mean, it does a great job of writing things out. It doesn't strike your emotion that you feel right now, I'm sure.
No, not at all. But it's a good tool to use, especially. I mean, especially on my end, because the way she spoke to me on the phone, I was flustered.
Yeah,
and she's accusing me of things that have no bounds whatsoever, and so this was a good way to send off a nice, clean, professional email to somebody in order to try to resolve the situation.
But we also played with this a little bit.
We did, because also you're like, could it be a little petty? So I told ChatGPT, I said, same thing, but make it petty. And this is what it gave me. It says, dear customer's name, I hope you're doing well, and I wanted to touch base about the engraving on the back of the headstone. Just to clear things up, the engraving on the back isn't something that's automatically included in the price. It's an extra service that we only do when a customer specifically requests it. And unfortunately, that request never came from you. I understand how easy it can be to assume things are included, but since it wasn't requested or paid for, it wasn't done. If you'd like to add it now, we'd be happy to provide you with a quote. Please let me know how you'd like to proceed. Still not as... It's petty. You get a little bit of tone in there. Yeah,
it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Right, there's a little sting to it, but not bad. Well, I couldn't leave it alone.
Well, yeah, because now obviously you and I have already talked about this and gone over this, and this is great. So we're sitting here going, this is fun and entertaining. What's the next step?
Yeah, there's got to be a next step. So I told ChatGPT, I said, more petty. It says, dear customer's name, hope this message finds you well. I wanted to clarify something about the headstone, specifically the engraving on the back that you didn't request or pay for. In case it wasn't clear, Engraving on the back is an additional service, not something we just throw in for free. Since you never mentioned wanting it and, well, didn't pay for it, it wasn't done. If you'd like to add it now, we can certainly do that. For a fee, of course. Let me know if you want to go ahead with it and I'll get you a quote. Looking forward to hearing how you'd like to proceed. Okay, ChatGPT can get a little waspy.
Yeah.
But it can get better. So
we've got more.
But wait, there's more. So I typed in the ChatGPT prompt. I said, head here. It says, dear customer's name. Hope this email finds you well, though I'm guessing it might not, given the misunderstanding about the headstone engraving. To set the record straight, engraving on the back of a headstone isn't some kind of bonus feature we throw in just for fun. It's an additional service that, like most things in life, needs to be requested and paid for. Since you didn't ask for it and certainly didn't pay for it, it wasn't done. Now I get it. Assuming something included is easy, but in this case, it wasn't. If you'd like to rectify this and add the engraving now, we'd be happy to do it. For a price, of course. Just let me know if you want to proceed and I'll whip up a quote for you. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, if any. Well, we did that, but of course
we've got to go further, right? Because
we've got to go further.
Satisfy the itch,
right? And the itch was finally scratched because whenever I did this, of course, you and I were on the phone with one another. Oh, that was the day we had the three-way call with Laquita.
We had Laquita on.
And you said, man, I wonder if ChatGPT can do a thug version. So
make it sound good.
I typed into ChatGPT. I said, can you do a thug version? And it did a thug version. It says, hey, customer's name. What's good? So I heard you got some thoughts about the headstone. Let me break it down real quick. Engraving on the back, that's extra. Ain't nobody doing that for free. If you didn't ask for it and did drop the cash, it didn't happen. Simple as that. Now, if you still want it, no problem. We can hook you up for the right price, of course. Just let me know if you're down and I'll send over the details. Stay up. Yeah.
Oh, geez. So, I mean, look, it is a great thing. I would suggest if you're going to use it, you might not tell it to be petty when you send stuff to a customer. Maybe you want to. Teach their own. You do you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that what we've come down to, and I think we discussed some of this before, but using ChatGPT, understand that you're going to, even when you send it out or whenever you send it to create something, it's giving you ideas and concepts of what to use. You're going to want to redo it another way as well, or try making adjustments because it's not going. You're going to have to fine tune it. In other words, but it can make you sound hoity-toity if you want. It can make you sound, pissed off,
or
it'll do what you want.
Or, and I just told it to do this. I said, what if John Wayne said it? And it says, howdy, customer's name. Now, I reckon there's been some confusion about the headstone engraving, so let me clear this up real simple like. Engraving on the back, that ain't part of the standard package. It's an extra service, one you got to ask for and pay for up front. Since you didn't holler for it and there wasn't a dime paid towards it, it didn't get done. No hard feelings, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Now, if you still want that engraving, we can saddle up and get it done for you. Just let me know and I'll send over the details on what it'll cost. Take care now.
Yeah, it has its moments and things. I've played with it a little bit. We haven't. We had a guy who sent me an email, and I was irritated because we'd already put enough work into something for him, and it was like he didn't really give us a chance to respond because it kind of still goes back to the same kind of deal where people are educated on the internet. So because you can now design stuff on the internet, it doesn't make sure that it's actually going to work or it's right. Because I have seen a recent design that came in from an online internet design company, where the date of birth and the date of death literally overlapped because their software, and I mean vertically overlapped. There was no line spacing between them because they don't have it set up to recognize font size, and you can't really adjust it. So they bring it into me. Hey, can you do this? I said, no,
but we can do it better.
So we've had a guy who, like, we were going back and forth with this, and he's educated on the internet again, and because you can do this stuff online, he assumes that we're going to drop everything and do that design right then. Well, we're not dragging our feet. We're trying to understand what he wants. Well, all of a sudden, he sent me an email this is last Saturday, with changes he wanted to see, and then immediately Sunday sends another email saying, it said, Mr. Watson, I'm informing you that I'm changing my decision to my need, and therefore I will not require a stone from you, basically. And I'm like, all right, thanks for wasting my time, but I don't know why you sent me something on Saturday to turn around and send me something on Sunday, assuming I was going to work on the weekend and stop everything to do your thing. So anyways, I said, I went into ChatGPT because you and I had just discussed this.
Okay.
And I said, I want to write a response email so that I have something to respond with. I said, write a response to an individual who said the following, and I literally copied and pasted the email. It says, certainly, here's a polite and professional response. Thank you for your email, for informing me of the change in direction regarding Watson Monument. I fully understand and respect your decision, and it has been a privilege to be considered for the insert name project. And I appreciate the opportunity to discuss the needs at this time. If you require any assistance further in the future, whether for this or this project or any other, please don't hesitate to reach out. Great. Now I'm playing with it. Make it more personal. Right?
Okay.
It says, thank you for your time. And it says, thank you for your time to inform me about your decision. I'm saddened that we won't be moving forward with the Watson Monument project. I completely understand your need to change directions. It was an honor to be involved, and even briefly, in the insert name project. I truly appreciate the trust you've placed in me during this process. Please let me know if you have anything further. And then I said, make it very petty, because now at this point in time, I'm just playing because we've already gone through this. Mm-hmm. It is unfortunate, after all the time and effort spent discussing the stone, you've decided to go another direction. It's always interesting when people change their minds in the last minute. Best of luck with whatever you choose to do instead.
You should have told a diversion to say how, you're basically taking the food off my kid's table and just really, really going off the rails with it. Oh, you're typing it in right now.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Noted. Hard return. It's unfortunate that after all the time and energy I put into discussing the Watson gravestone, you've decided to change directions. I suppose that's just how it goes. Plans change, and so does the food on my kid's plate. Best of luck with your new direction.
Oh. Now I will say that if any of you choose to do this, to write a letter to a customer that you may not be that happy with, or you may be in a jam with, and you do want to play with it like we have, double check which one you're copying and pasting into that email before you responded.
And hey, I'll say this. We don't have our swag yet here for sending out, but if you do, send one of those versions. You call us, tell us
a
the
shirt
story.
or a hat or
We'll have
something.
you on. We're sending you swag. All right. It's just that's the way it's going to be.
If you've got the stones to do it, we will hook you up.
The internet is a great place, but it's also the worst. I mean, so there's stuff that you can use to better off your business and things, but I think you got to be very careful. But I think one of the things we've got to also be careful with in doing stuff is that we've got to be able to educate families, and in scenarios where they've educated themselves, you've got to be all encompassing.
Yes,
we don't, and I've got, you and I've gone over this ad nauseum. I'm very fortunate that my competitors are good folks. I'm very fortunate that, and I don't mean just one. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 shops in my little area. I know 3 of them outside of myself, obviously.
Right.
One of them I've never met, but the others I know well, and they're good people. I can't speak for the other one because I've never met him. I don't know. He's too new. I just don't know enough about him. But the others, they're good folks, and so I don't badmouth. So we all kind of have a gentleman's agreement that we're not going to badmouth each other and whatnot.
Correct.
And so when I inform people, I just directly inform them and said, look, this is how this goes. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go for a monument. The pricing structure is the same because that's how all the suppliers price it to us. It's really no difference to us.
Yeah.
So you're in control.
Yeah, and like my competition around here, I know them. It's not I wouldn't say we're great friends or anything like that, but if a family does ever ask, and they have before, why should we choose you over the company X or whatever? And I've instructed my people here, and then I also do the same, that I'm never going to speak ill of my competition. The only thing I'm going to do is highlight what we do
where they're wrong. Oh, that's not what you were going to say?
Well, sometimes I've had the families actually come out and say it. Like they'll spill the tea on, an interaction they had with one of our competitors, and again, I won't sit there and just, have fun with it as much as you want to. The only thing I'll say is, well, that's unfortunate, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. And that's really it. I have corrected families a couple of times when they go, look, no, they are good people. So that's not, we won't badmouth them. They are good folks. So, but what are you biting mad over there? Are you sending out messages to make sure things are taken care of?
Yeah, I'm yelling across the office, making requests.
Oh man. So I don't know. I've got to send out a praise note here and give credit where credit is due. I don't know if you've been just so busy all week and if you've had a chance to look at this or not, but this week, Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, MBNA had a webinar.
I wanted to watch that, but I was flat covered up.
Well, good news is if you're an MBNA member, it was recorded and it will be put out on for you to download and watch at another time. I didn't watch the whole thing. I caught the tail end of it, but my office girls watched it and said it was really good and very informative. But what the discussion was on copyright stuff, which is stuff that you and I have been talking about. We've been trying to get geared up, and I know everybody's going, they're not going to talk about it because they keep saying they're going to talk about copyright stuff. Well, we don't have it all together, dadgummit.
We're cooking. Let them cook.
Yeah. This is not that we're running on a shoestring budget here, believe it or not. No,
Yeah, and it's frayed at one end.
So but the copyright deal they did I was really impressed. That it was really good and informative. They went over some details that people are not necessarily aware of. Just a couple of Cliff's Notes details to kind of inform everybody. One, if you're a member of MBNA, go watch it, go download it whenever it's live. I don't know when it goes live. I'm sure somebody who's important, Matt Worthington, will let us know that it's available. Matt Worthington, so that people can download it and find out.
You referred to him by his official title, please.
El Presidente Mateo Worthington. How would you say Worthington? That is like the most English name, and I don't know how to put it in Spanish.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
We can talk about Mark Cowart, and he's the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Cowart can put it out there and tell us when it's going to be live. Anyways, we can sit there and go through all these names and sit there, but we'll see when I'm sure somebody will tell us when it goes up. Anyways, all that to say, go download it, go check it out. It's really good. If you're not an MBNA member, I'm sure there's a way that you can get it by, like, I don't know, paying your dues.
Yeah. If you send an email to MBNA and you're not a member requesting that video, you might get a petty ChatGPT response. You know, well, since you didn't pay for it, you don't get
it. Like, response heard on the We Rock podcast. So, no, check it out. So, anyways, some of the things that I heard on there that were good pieces of information to have in there was that and this is and I'm going to butcher it. This is why I'm telling you to go watch it and listen to it, because the lawyers had it better than I did. That was on Tuesday. Today is Friday. I have slept a little bit, not a lot, since then. I've been getting up early because I've got to drop James off at football practice in the morning. So, anyways, he mentioned something about if you're sued for copyright
which never happens in our industry. Never.
Nobody.
It has never
anywhere.
Happened.
No, there's not a individual anywhere that would sue people for copyright on something they actually didn't design or something to that nature. Anyways,
no, it's all hypothetical.
We operate in hypotheticals because we got to cover the gambit. So if you were sued, he mentioned that it has to be done in federal court. And if it's a first time offense, meaning it's very well likely that you didn't do it on purpose, they can't see that there is a lot of malice. Then it looks like the fine for a first offense is only a few $100. So you kind of, and it is the responsibility of the individual who has the copyright to prove that you did it in malice or found it and stole it or whatever. So there's a lot of details. There's a lot of little details, and every little situation's different as to what it is. You can't just, while you can probably get hit if you bought the monument from a supplier who did it to or whatever, it's not likely that's going anywhere. Keep in mind that a first offense requires it to be something that has actually gone through the court and not settled out of court. So a first offense would be on the record within the court docket.
Okay.
So certain things like that, it's not so cut and dry. Like, oh, look, this is similar. You stole it. Because within copyright, it does have room for you to have got inspiration from, or it to be a parody of.
Right.
So there's a lot of little tidbits within it. So I say go check it out. It was a very well done educational deal. I'll probably sit back down and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to over the weekend.
Yep, and kind of get my hands on it and break it down with Cliff's notes, and then because I know when MonuCon comes up, we're gonna, while I'm talking about other things, we are gonna kind of give a little short period to talking about some copyright stuff as well within there, how to actually copyright your own work, just to protect yourself or to keep customer stuff from getting out. You know what? Truthfully, if you want to keep a customer stuff from getting out, I don't know. Don't put it out there. So
true, very true.
That's going to be your only, not even surefire, but mostly some concrete way of doing it. But or make it difficult enough that nobody else knows how to copy it. Instead of just drawing something up and sandblasting directly into the polish or something. I don't know. So. But try,
that's not good.
Well, I mean, sure, if you're selling cheap trash online, I guess it works. But I've seen a number of those sites that show up in the cemeteries out here.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of halfway blown in and not even V-cut. And here's an idea: buy a black stone and barely cut the lettering. And
but see, I've seen them do the reverse of that. They will shallow cut something like a grade marker blown straight into polish. They'll shallow cut it, but then they'll set a black one out there and they'll V-line that thing.
Yep. Well, there was one I saw a while back that I posted on Monument Builders, showed up to one of the rural cemeteries that it was a gray granite, and it was a Chinese gray stone on the back panel for the family name, right? Mm-hmm. Double outline. I can't call it double outline. Why? Because they didn't frost it. All they did was blow the outline, the V lines into the stone, and add black litho. So then I'm sitting here pulling my hair out, what little I've got left, because I'm going, what is the point of the V lines around the name if you're not going to frost it on gray granite? There's no point in the panel. The panel's worthless.
We had a competitor here for a while that they're no longer around, and for good reason. But they used to be a good shop back in the day, and historically were a good shop. And of course, it changed hands about 2 or 3 times, and then it got down to where it was just an absolute train wreck. And they were just wanting to blow things into polish and get them out the door. And the way they marketed that to their customers was they were saying that having it all in polish, that is what we call a premium finish. You want a premium finish.
Oh.
And then they went a step further and they sprayed clear coat, like automotive clear coat.
Oh gosh.
All over it. So it would shine more. And if you see one of those today, especially a black one, it's peeling up, it's flaking off. It's disgusting.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, don't try to pull this around my customers. You know why? Because if I find out you're doing that, I will go to your shop. I will send somebody over to buy one, have it put on a plot that I buy. I will go pick it up and put it on my display with your sign on top of it to show how bad it gets. Well, we want to play petty. I will do it. I
thought for a second you were saying that you were going to go down there and explain to them that they were doing it wrong, and I was like, no. Don't ever stop them. Don't ever stop them whenever they're making a mistake.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna buy one, put it on my display, and just watch it age. Just watch it. It's only got to sit out in the sun 6 months before it starts to show.
And what you do is every day you pull up to work, take a picture of it. So one day you can put together your slideshow, and it's just the progression.
Oh, they would get a good image of that stuff. So, but all right. So what else you got going on? Anything good?
Not much. Other than just work and More work.
Well, there's worse places to be, I guess.
Yeah.
So we got coming up.
Also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, and I think I know what you're about to say, but I was going to say something a little different. But for those of you that do pray and keep old John Scott in your prayers. That guy had a bit of an accident in his shop, and he had a stone roll over on his foot.
I laugh because I don't know what else to do. I feel so bad for him.
I know.
I don't know the scenario. It could have been really bad.
Yes,
it could have been absolutely really bad. And John knows that. It's just not a. I'm gonna say this. This is not me knocking John, saying he did it wrong. Or I wasn't there. I can't say he did it wrong, and I don't think he did. He's anything can happen. Heck, I actually sent him a message and I said, "Hey man, don't you know that Jason Campbell's the clumsy one? I mean, it's but yeah, he had a stone fall on him. It sounds like they will save his foot, but that's how bad it is. He could have lost a part of his foot. What's a little crazy is the only other individual that I know who's had stones. Let me back up. Maybe not the one other individual that I know who had a shop who lost his leg to a monument falling was from Beaumont, and it wasn't John. It was another monument guy. So I don't know. It could have been really bad, and I will laugh about it because he's okay.
Yes,
ish, and I don't make fun of him necessarily about it. I'd pick on him because I care. But having been there watching a stone nearly crush Jonathan Benson, I
remember hearing about that.
I take it super serious. All my guys, I've trained them. If you're putting a stone down, you can stand to the side or you can stand at a 45, which is even better to the joint. That is the best place because it's going to be very difficult for it to go that way. It's very easy for it to go forward or back. So, but yeah, man, prayers out to John Scott.
Yes.
I hope he gets all that figured out and taken care of. But coming up, we've got a bunch of events coming up. Of course, you and I've got AICA coming up.
In the beautiful, historic metropolis of Oklahoma City.
I do have a little bit of beef with this because we're going there to Oklahoma City, and then follow up like in a few short weeks after SMBA has our workshop at Bodie Anderson's in Ada. So why the heck am I spending so much time in Oklahoma? This does not sound right.
Just learning a little bit more about our neighbors to the north.
The Choctaws? No. And look, we are going to be in an area in which they named their favorite team after a bunch of cheaters. So that took you a second.
It did.
Yeah. If you know anything about the land rush, you fully understand.
Hamster had to spin up the speed,
Yeah, the Sooners are named after the cheaters. The Boomers are the ones who did job right and left on the gunshot. So, it's so yeah, we've got what's the date on the workshop?
October 19th.
October 9th.
16th. Right? Hang on, I'm looking at our group real quick.
Where the hold music comes in.
I think 19th. Yeah. Yeah, 19th. 19th is okay. 19th is what we've settled on, and information will be coming out about that soon. I know that they are. I talked to Max at BLAQ, and he's getting a room block set up at the Hampton Inn there in Ada.
Yeah.
So that way everybody can get their rooms reserved. And typically what happens for those that have not been, of course, You don't have to be a member of SMBA to come. Anybody is welcome to come. But typically what happens is that Friday evening, there's going to be a dinner at the Andersons plant. And they, of course, they also give tours of their shed and allows you to interact with them, ask questions, things like that, and allows all of us to spend time and hang out. And then, of course, everybody goes back to their rooms and hangs out after that. And for those of you that are coming, right across the street from the Hampton Inn is a place called the Santa Fe Bar and Grill, and that's where a lot of us tend to congregate afterwards. So, see you there.
Hey, can I start a rumor? You want to start a rumor?
By all means.
I understand that the Andersons have Blake Shelton hosting a concert privately just for us. Is that right? Him and Gwen?
Have it on good authority, you know. Max Johnson from Anderson Corey's is the one that has confirmed. No, he says that because Blake Shelton is from Ada, and the Andersons do know him.
Yeah, I think I knew that. So yeah, he's.
Yeah. Now, but then Saturday morning, you know, we usually kick it off about 8 or 9 in the morning, and there's going to be, you know, all sorts of educational parts to it, and a good portion of it is going to be meant to be hands-on. It's not just going to be sitting there listening to somebody speaking. It's going to give you the opportunity to actually put your hands on a piece of granite and
talking to you, Matt Worthington.
Always. Got dirty them pretty hands up.
We're gonna have to make sure he understands that he can go, because it's still not that far from Stillwater. They just moved their son into the dorms up there at OSU this week, so they've got to make sure that they can make it to the football game. Which fine, they can make it. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
So not too far.
Be good. They'll be good.
Yeah.
Then of course, after that we have the next thing is MonuCon, isn't it?
MonuCon, that's going to be big.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a blast. I got to talk to Joe this morning briefly, and man, it's they're pulling out all the stops for you vendors. Just now, like I don't, for the vendors that listen, because I know who you are. I can see where you're watching or listening from. You think I don't know? I stalk my own podcast. Okay, I know.
We know.
So for you vendors that are thinking about going, he's actually gone all out for you guys as well. And this morning he was telling me that he's pre-booked the restaurants or rooms for tables of like 15. I got one of the vendors actually calling me right now, just lighting up my phone. I see you, Mike Riley. I know you're calling. But no, he's got tables already set up for like 25 or 15 and 10 and things like that, so that you already have a room set up for you to be able to take customers out if you choose to do so. And these restaurants are high class. They're very good restaurants. It's this isn't like some podunk casino or nothing like it. This is high dollar. It's very nice. So it's they do a great job. But so I think vendors, I know he's already said that they're pretty well full up, but there's still some space, and get it all figured out. Even if you just go to come check it out, for those of y'all who are interested in going, go. I'm speaking. I'm going to talk on my speech at this point in time, unless it's subject. Everything's always subject to change, but for now, it will be talking about. I can't sell that in my area. That's one of the things I hear a lot. I'm sure a lot of people hear, say it and see stuff. Oh, we can't sell it in our area. We're going to talk about how to do that and the steps to get to those points, as well as showing that it can be done, and just kind of how to, how that some of the things that you see are not always as expensive as you think they need to be, or they are. So some of that kind of stuff that we'll go through, like I said earlier, we will talk a little bit about some copyright stuff there. But what we're going to talk about there from my perspective is how to set yourself up and do it and how to protect yourself. So that'll be a quick one. Apparently you and I will be, man, I'll tell you what, when I talked to him, he was ready to set us up in like a phenomenal spot to do the podcast. So I was like, man, I'll just give me a chair and sit me in the middle of the room. Let's go.
Yeah, normally what we do is we just invade a space somewhere and just,
right in front of everybody. Who cares?
We just treat it like
on a couch in front of a bar somewhere. I don't know.
We just treat it like we're colonial white people. We just show up somewhere and say ours.
always joked. We had a little dachshund growing up, and so that's its German dog. And every time he'd walk by something, he'd lift his leg, and I go, "Unter mine, unter mine."
He's just doing it backwards, Yes. I don't know if we want to throw that one out there.
It's all right. They didn't get the visual. They're just going to have to guess. Whatever you think it is, it's not what it was.
Right. Right.
But anyways, I think on that one, we can, we'll move forward, and maybe we can move forward and be unburdened by what has been, or something like that.
That is correct. Yep. Just pure inspirational words right there.
Well, there you go.
You should run for president.
Yeah. Hey, how about, before we go, how about my guys?
They're doing good.
They're still, they may be leading the division, but they're not. I looked at the win rate right now. They are first in the division, but as far as first place in divisions go, they're in the tail end of that. Our division's just been beating each other up. Is really what it is. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and that on my side with my guys, that World Series hangover is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a pitcher in that just went lights out though, and so we'll make a good run at it.
And y'all got Tucker down right now.
Yep.
That hurts.
Yep. So they're doing pretty well. We'll see how this goes. We will know come a couple weeks, 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure my guys have pretty much cashed out for this season.
Well, what did I see?
Not unless something just pure magic happens, but as long as there's a Texas team at the top of our division, and if they can run with it, I'm still happy with it.
Yeah, I think y'all got a mountain to climb if y'all even gonna make it somewhere. So
they have to play absolutely perfect baseball from here on out. And from the beginning of the season till the point we are right now, they have yet to figure out how to play perfect baseball. I mean, between injuries and then guys that were big producers last year have just absolutely fallen to pot this year. And
it is what it is.
One of those. It's baseball. Baseball is a game built around heartbreak.
Oh yeah,
baseball will straight up break your heart.
Yeah, well, that's like the most successful business people like baseball, right? Because they know that they can fail 70% of the time and still make it.
So what you're saying is I only need to close a little less than a third of my sales, and my business will be.
You let me know how that works. Hey, why don't you go ahead and send that email to that lady, the petty one?
No, I'm going straight thug. Yeah, I mean, I'll even throw a picture on, me throwing up the deuces to her or whatnot.
Oh my! See if I can still do that. You still do that? Yeah, there we go.
Straight from the streets.
That's that Conroe upbringing. The east side of the freeway, not the west side of the freeway. There's a massive difference,
right? Oh, why do we not record the video? That would have been awesome.
You want to take a still shot? That could be our cover.
Yes. Oh man.
Well, oh gosh. On that note.
On that note,
Yeah, I'm gonna go find something valuable to do.
It's 4:26 on a Friday. There ain't nothing valuable to do.
I think I've got a bottle of bourbon and a cigar somewhere. So
okay, that is valuable.
Yeah. We shut down at 3, man. I told you the lights have been off since we've been on doing this, and heck, I shut the lights off at 3. Kicked my chair. If you saw me kick my chair around, that's because there was somebody walked up to the door. So,
right,
I was prepared.
Yes, sir.
But all right. On that note, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Sounds good, bud.
All right, out.
Later.